Hello, in this video we're taking a look at phase 2 of my 3D printing adventure. So if you missed the previous video, basically I'm trying to teach myself 3D printing with the ultimate aim being to print out something like the bigger figures behind me. The last video was phase 1, which was test pieces, weird shaped things and a little boat and some other things, along with some disasters that occurred along the way. This is phase 2, which is small models. Phase 3 will be like head and shoulders busts of characters. Phase 4 will be big figures, and then phase 5 will hopefully be something like these that I've got behind me. So this is phase 2. So how did phase 2 go? Better, but not perfect. So let's start off having a look at this. So this was a little pit droid from Star Wars. They turn up in The Mandalorian a lot, and as you can see, bits of it have fallen off. As soon as I took the raft off of, the build plate, bits just started popping off it, and I'm not sure that I've actually found all the bits that fell off. So I've got to take all the bits off very carefully and try to put it together to see if I've got a complete figure. So this is something I may have to print out another version of at some point. But this was the first thing, which seemed to have come out right, apart from bits flying everywhere and me possibly losing some bits. So that's the first thing. Pit droid didn't go quite as planned. Talking of didn't go quite as planned, the second thing I did, I thought this would be cool. It's a Blade Runner badge from the Blade Runner movies, and it's pretty disappointing. It's got a little picture on there which looks quite nice, but there's no real depth or definition to it. It's mostly kind of flat. So yeah, kind of disappointing. I may have to look for another one and try again with a better model. Next up, again, this was little small piece I did, which may look a bit weird. It is actually a Green Lantern ring. Now obviously when you build stuff, when you 3D print stuff, you can scale them up or down, make them bigger or smaller. So I could have made this bigger so that it actually fitted on my finger. But I left it as it was because the idea is to paint it up and then put it with my Green Lantern statue. So that was that little thing there. So then I went on to doing some figures, and the first one I did was this chap here, who you will probably recognise if you're British. If you're not British, you may not recognise him. This is Danger Mouse. He's the greatest secret agent in the land. Here he's with his eye patch on. Now this is a British cartoon, Danger Mouse, in case you were confused. Not a lot of detail on the figure, but there's not a lot of detail on him in the cartoon, and I just thought, well, that'd be interesting to print out. So there's the first figure, Danger Mouse, there. And then, okay, so then I went for something with a little bit more detail in. So this is Tony Chopper, who is a blue-nosed reindeer. He's a character from One Piece, which is a manga and an anime, and Netflix did a live action series which was brilliant, but we haven't gone up to Tony Chopper yet. Now this came out really well. The problem with this was usually I have a little bit of a struggle getting models off my build plate. I have to apply a bit of hot water to loosen them up. This one, I basically tapped it and it came flying off the build plate, flew across the room, and ka-snap, snapped off one of his antlers, and I had to scratch around on the floor trying to find that. So other than it flying off the build plate and breaking, this came out very well. Just a bit of a shame about the antler, really. But other than that, it was all going well. Oh, and then the next piece, I thought I'd do the robot from Lost in Space, the original Lost in Space from, what was it, the 50s or 60s. And because it's complete, the model is hollow, which was fine. That's a thing you do, you hollow things out. But The model had quite thin walls and was quite fragile, and as you can see, the chest kind of just collapsed and caved in. Other than that, it looks really good. So there's a robot from Lost in Space. And then, oh okay, so this is a miniature. So this was more appropriate for the first video. It's a bit small for this phase 2. But the reason I included this is I actually designed this myself. I went onto a site called, what was it called? Realm Forge? Hero Forge, I think it was. And I designed this myself, and then got a digital download of it and printed it out myself. So I was just quite chuffed with that little miniature, just purely because I designed it myself. And I may do some more and do some little dioramas with them. So there's my little miniature. And then, okay. So if you watched the first video, if you've seen the first video, you may remember at the end of it, I did do a couple of pieces. I did Baby Yoda, who came out very well and is currently being painted. And I did Mario in his Mario Kart. And I thought, well, let's do a character to go with Mario. Let's do his arch enemy, Bowser. So I did a model of Bowser, which when I took it out, I thought, well, that's come out perfect. That looks fantastic. And then I looked a bit closer, and if you can see, his snout and his chin are split. And I couldn't work out why that had happened. I thought maybe I hadn't put appropriate supports on the figure. So I went back and redid it with heavier supports and made it a bit smaller. And this time the snout and chin came out perfectly, but he came out with a massive split in his shell. It may well be because I hadn't hollowed it out, which is a feature you can do with your software. For 3D printing, you can hollow things out to make them lighter, and you use less resin, and hopefully things like this do not happen. And you also put holes. You can dig holes in them, because if you hollow it out, you don't want liquid resin sitting in there and then the thing getting broken at some point and then the liquid resin spilling out everywhere, because it would be toxic, because it wouldn't be cured. So I did a hollow version of Bowser, and I put a couple of holes in his feet, and he came out perfectly. It looks fantastic. Now the only problem with it now is he will not stand up. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm either going to have to look for another model of Bowser, or I might just print out a little base for this one and see how we get on with that. Other than that, he looks really good. Although I could have done with doing him a bigger scale, so that he sort of matched up with the Mario size for size, really. But there's our Bowser, who just acts like he's drunk. And then the next piece was, okay, so we've got a few pieces left. And these are my favourite pieces. This, I absolutely love this one. I wanted at some point to do a Godzilla, because I'm a Godzilla fan, but obviously we're doing small pieces, and I'd wanted to do him as a big piece, really. But I found this tiny little model of a little metropolis, a little city, and as you go round, you can see Godzilla is there on one side, obviously just about to wreck the city. And that just looks so cool. I just had to print one of those out. So there he is. There is Godzilla, a little Godzilla with a little city that he's about to destroy, probably. So that was good. I like that one. And then the next thing I got was this. This is a Cyclops. As you can see, it looks, as soon as I saw it, I thought I've got to have it, because it looks like the Cyclopses, or at least one of the Cyclopses from the old Ray Harryhausen movies, the old Sinbad films, and that sort of thing, with the stop motion monsters in it. I thought that looked so cool, and this one came out really well. I was really pleased with this. Needs a little bit of cleaning up and then painting, but that came out really, really well. I was really pleased with that. So that's my Cyclops. And then last three pieces. So firstly, we've got from Star Wars, from Jedi, we've got a little model of Salacious Crumb, Jabba the Hutt's little pet monkey thing, whatever the hell he's meant to be, sitting on his little cushion. and this was in 2 pieces. The tail was a separate piece to the rest of it, and I haven't even glued the tail in. I've just pushed him in. I keep expecting it to fall out at any moment. But yeah, this come out really well. It's really nice detail on him, and that'll look really good once it's painted up. So that's the next piece, Salacious Crumb. And then we've got 2 nice, I'm going to call them bonus pieces because I wasn't going to do these originally. So first of all, we've got this, which is apparently a model of the pod from 2001, A Space Odyssey. And I was really worried, after I printed it out, it came out really well, but I was really worried cutting the supports off because these arms are so small and thin and delicate. I was worried I was going to cut what I thought was a support, and instead I was going to cut an arm off and it was going to go flying off and it would ruin it. But it's just come out so well. It looks absolutely perfect there. So that was really nice. I was really pleased with that. And then the last item we've got is a little robot that you may recognise if you remember the old Disney film, The Black Hole. Now it had several robots in it, which all kind of floated and hovered around. And this is, I guess, the main one. This is Vincent. And as you can see, he's got a stand as well. They come as 2 separate bits, but Vincent is made with a little hole underneath him so that he can sit on the stand. And again, I was a little bit worried about taking the supports off because you can see with the arms and that is a little bit delicate. But again, he came out absolutely perfectly. So there we go. That is Vincent from Disney movie The Black Hole. In fact, I may well print out a smaller version of this stand and use that for the pod. So that was phase 2 of my 3D printing adventure. Keep watching to see if I do eventually get to phase 5 and manage to print out something like these figures behind me. For the meantime, however, that is it for this video. Until next time, remember, hit the thumbs up below and I will see you in the next one.